This is Anthony Richardson, and you're listening to RosterWatch.
This is AJ Brown, and you're listening to Roster Watch.
This is Josh Allen, and you're listening to RosterWatch.
Roster Watch Nation, what is up, and welcome back to another episode of the Roster Watch Pick'em Show presented by Underdog. Underdog Fantasy right there on the right side of your screen. 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000 when you sign up with the promo code ROSTER. Every single week, Monday and Thursday nights, we do this show talking you through the primetime picks from RosterWatch.com that you can utilize on Underdog Fantasy, UnderdogFantasy.com today. You can also get the rest of our picks for the weekend slate that's hitting at a 60.5% rate through the entire season over at RosterWatch.com. Those go up. We try to get a couple of them in Friday, sprinkle a couple in, and then Saturday we'll get all the rest of those picks in for the Sunday slate. Big weekend of games this weekend, so you probably get a couple sprinkling in for the Saturday games because we do have a 2-game Saturday slate. A lot of college football games this weekend, but we do have Texans and Chiefs at 1 p.m. on Saturday, Steelers and Ravens at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday as well. Big games here. But first and foremost, we got a divisional game, a rivalry game on Thursday night football. And these are two playoff teams right now. And what they're vying for, this is the 8-6 Chargers and the 9-5 Broncos vying for the right to play Buffalo or the right to play Pittsburgh in those respective cities. Buffalo's got the 2 seed right now, Pittsburgh the 3. More than likely, that's how it finishes out unless something cockamamie happens. But Buffalo's in the pole position to be the number 2 seed unless Kansas City trips up over the course of the last 3 games of the year. Pittsburgh got a game up on Houston right now. Basically, the winner of this game will get the better matchup, a.k.a. Pittsburgh. The loser will likely go to Buffalo in the first round of the playoffs. Nonetheless, here we are. We're talking about it. Thursday night football. The game, the Chargers are 3-point favorites in this one with an over-under total of 42.5. The team totals are 21.5 for the Chargers, 19.5 for the Broncos. The first half spread, Chargers favored by half a point. We're sitting here, we're looking through the game, and when you go through the last couple of games for these respective teams, I think we got a little something to deal with here. The Chargers got beat by Baltimore at home. They defeated Atlanta in Atlanta by 4. They lost to the Chiefs in a close game in Kansas City that they should have won, and they got blasted last week by the Buccaneers at home. Now they're at home again on short notice, 4 days rest against the Broncos, who had a bye in week 14 and a big win at home against the Colts. Now they come to Los Angeles. They're on a 4-game heater. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Raiders, the Browns, the bye in week 14, the late season bye for the Broncos. Now they get the Chargers here with the Bengals and Chiefs the rest of season. Tough schedule for the Broncos. Big game situation to have to win. I'm going to pop the screen up here for you to go to Underdog. Hey, I do have one open bet right now over there on Underdog, and it came from the preseason. If you tapped in to RosterWatch.com, there's my face. If you tap into RosterWatch.com throughout the fall training camp tour, when we go, we're across the country. Byron goes out west. Trashman goes up the gut. I'm on the East Coast. We put in a nice little I guess you'd say slip here on Underdog. And it's my one open slip right now. If I could pull it up on the screen, I could if I would. But it's Pat Freiermuth. It's Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville. And it is Brian Robinson, the running back in Washington. 3 guys that we saw on the East Coast training camp tour. And I had to plug them in. And they're this close. We got the Brian Thomas touchdowns hit over. The Brian Robinson rushing yards is over. And the Pat Freiermuth receiving yards is about 29 yards away from cranking through. So we're getting there. All things over at RosterWatch.com. You could have found that out. That was back in August. And now we're obviously in December. That thing's about to cash in. But we're here talking about Thursday night football. I appreciate you all for tapping in. Please click that like button. Please click subscribe as always. And let's get into the picks. The picks for this week. Obviously, you know the quarterbacks up in this matchup. Bo Nix versus Justin Herbert in this one. I'm working on a minimized small screen tonight, which is abnormal to what I'm usually working with here. But we got it up on the screen. I'm trying to expand as it allows me to. But again, working with one screen. Why does it look so dang small? What can I get rid of here to make this not so small? There we go. That looks better than before. Much better, much better, much better. Come on, donkey boy. All right. We got Bo Nix here, 220.5 passing yards. We got Justin Herbert at 232.5 passing yards. The favorite thing that my most favorite thing about having going to Underdog is it more picks. 19 picks overall that you get to choose from for the Herberts of the world, for the Bo Nixes of the world. You get a passing touchdown, you get a rushing touchdown, you get pass plus rush yards, you get pass attempts, you get completions, you get rushing yards. They had interception here, but it looks like it's on hold right now. Rush attempts, longest completion, pass downfield, first half yards, first half rushing, first half numbers, longest rush. You get so many opportunities here. Even completion percentage, which I think is a very interesting one. I haven't really full-fledged jumped into the completion percentage thing, but they added that, I think, this season, and I've thought about it numerous times. I just haven't done it. Haven't really studied it as much. So I'm not going to jump into something that I haven't really studied as much. You also have Bo Nix on this other side here. Rushing numbers for Bo Nix generally are something that I may lean into. I may push the pocketbook towards something on Bo Nix. But Bo Nix over the course of the last month, so it's a very hot one here. Over the course of the season, I should say, he's done really well rushing. He had a 4-game stretch, the last 5. So leading up to this Colts game that he had this last week, we had 23.5 rushing yards. Before that, he had the Browns had 4, Raiders he had 5, Atlanta he had 5, and Kansas City he had -5. So his number, where on the season, he was averaging around 35 yards per game, 34, 33 yards per game. The last month has completely regressed until this last Colts game. So I generally would stay away from the rushing, but he hit it against the Colts. So I think he kind of got back into that. This is going to be a game where you're in a short week. It's a rivalry, and they got a pass rush. The Chargers have a pass rush. So I'm going to go ahead and just lean into it. I'm going to lean into Bo Nix here. I like the athleticism. I like the opportunity that he's looking at right now, going to Los Angeles, indoors on the turf. I think he's going to scamper for a few, 7-8 yarders. I think he's going to end up with a 20-yard finish, hopefully 21, not 20, for Bo Nix. So that's first and foremost. When you look at Justin Herbert, the passing total comes in at 232.5. Again, I love Ladd McConkey. I think that you look at Quentin Johnston and what he's done this season. I think he's grown into a role. Stone's smart. We're looking at Hayden Hurst being activated tonight. I just can't get there with Justin Herbert at 232.5 passing yards. The last 4 weeks is at 195, 213, 147, 218. He just hasn't quite gotten there. This is a good back end here with Pat Surtain as the lead. When you look at the Chargers and the Broncos, this game was 23-16 in Denver the last time around. The Chargers won that game, and Herbert did have 237. He threw the ball 34 times, and it was dispersed amongst everybody. McConkey had 8 targets. Simi Fehoko had 4. Will Dissly had 5. Quentin Johnston had 4. And a bunch of other dudes had 3 and 2 targets apiece. So I'm going to go ahead and stay away from the Herbert number, even though the direction I lean is sort of towards the under. But again, you guys know one of my least favorite things to do in any market is go under, because I want to see points. I want to see fun. I want to cheer for. I don't want to cheer against. I don't want to say suppress him, because every time that I happen to do that, it just feels like it goes sour for some reason. So I'm going to go and look at the running back position. Kamani Vidal. Kamani Vidal had a 34-yard game against Kansas City 2 weeks ago. He had a ton of reps in the upstick this last week. And Gus Edwards, for some reason, Gus Edwards just is not looking like the Gus Edwards that we were used to in Baltimore, where he's averaging 7 yards per carry, 6 yards per carry for a couple of seasons there. He looks like an entirely different back. There's obviously no J.K. Dobbins, probably until next week is the assumption he's going to be back in week 16. 67% of the snaps for Kamani Vidal last week. Didn't really get a lot to go with it, obviously. 53% of the snaps the week before that. He's out snapping Gus Edwards. I think primetime TV for our guy Kamani Vidal is what's going to pay the bills on Thursday Night Football. 26.5 rushing yards, 7.5 rush attempts, 1.5 receptions, 42.5 rush plus receiving. I'm going to go ahead and take the rushing yards for Kamani Vidal, 26.5 higher. So it's going to be a rushing duo tonight. We're just going to take 2 picks for Thursday Night Football. It's going to be Bo Nix, 20.5 rushing yards, Kamani Vidal, 26.5. 2 very low numbers. We're taking the rushing. If it's a stinker like it was last Thursday, we're going to go ahead and cash some tickets. Let's go. I don't even know who I want to win this game, to be honest with you. Let's go Denver. I want Denver to win this game. We're going 2 for 2 tonight. Kamani Vidal, Bo Nix. There's the ticket. You can see it fresh as day. I appreciate y'all tapping in on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Thursday night, week 15, as we near fantasy football championships, fantasy football playoffs. Make sure you tap in over at RosterWatch.com. Get your week 15 rankings, get your week 16 rankings, and tap in and continue to build toward those championships. I don't even know did I just say it was week 15? I'm pretty sure it's week 16. Is my math wrong in my head or something? It's week 16. Week 17 is the fantasy championships. My brain was going back to the old school. Here we are. Appreciate you guys. Click like, click subscribe. We'll be back. I love you. I'm thankful for you. Snowman, I see you in the chat, man. Keep on crushing, everybody. Have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend. Roster Watch Nation, we out.
This is Anthony Richardson. You're listening to